Hello, everyone. Welcome to Avaya University's Healing from Childhood Trauma. I am your co-host, Andy Anderson, along with my partner, Ike Allen. Ike and I are the founders of Avaya and Enlightenment Village, and thank you so much for joining us. And in this event, we are talking with some really incredible fellow experts. We're talking with therapists, doctors, authors, and more about how to heal from your experiences of childhood trauma. And so many of us have had experiences of childhood trauma. And together, we're sharing with you strategies. We're sharing tools to help you learn to love yourself, to learn to let go of your past and live a peaceful, powerful life. And today our guest is going to be talking about just that, healing from the wounds and healing the wounds of childhood trauma. So please welcome Dr. Jamie Marich. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, very nice to be with you, Andy.
Let's talk a little bit about what is your approach to healing and teaching about healing from trauma?
Well, I think to best answer that question, I have to go into how I define trauma, because that definition very much informs my approach. So we get the English word trauma from the Greek word, which means wound. And if you think of physical wound, which is the origin of the word itself, we know that wounds typically need time and space to heal. Mm-hmm. And some wounds need advanced or outside care, particularly if the system is fragile or if the nature of the wound is such where care is demanded. So I often say when I teach on emotional and other kinds of trauma, think of everything you know about physical trauma and what needs to happen in the healing process with that. And it all translates with emotional, spiritual, sexual trauma, maybe even more so. So my approach to defining trauma first is it's any unhealed human wound. And we can get into all the diagnostic particulars, but to me, that's not as important as realizing that when I'm dealing with traumatized people, I'm working with people who are wounded, and not just people who are wounded, but usually wounds that have not been given the care they need in order to heal. So using a variety of methods and approaches, I look at trauma recovery that way. How can we help you heal from either a wound or a series of wounds? And in the case of childhood trauma, when people are coming to me, it's usually wounds that happened many, many years ago and nothing was done. And so complications resulted. So when I look at my overall approach, it's definitely one of how can I help you heal from wounds?
Got it. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for diving into that. So one other quick question for you. What is EMDR? Because I know I've mentioned that a lot when I was talking about what you do in the different books you've written. So what is that?
So EMDR therapy stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a method that was created by a psychologist named Francine Shapiro in the late 80s. And she was a very avid practitioner of mind-body medicine and meditation approaches that she started studying after her diagnosis with cancer. And so kind of in this container of self-experimentation, she developed this method where by moving your eyes back and forth, you're tapping into a natural system within the triune brain that is the human brain to help us more efficiently store how memories are stored in the brain. So a lot of people conceptualize it as REM sleep in an awakened state. There's a little more to it than that. And if people are interested, I could tell them where to get more information on it. But it is one of the top two most researched and well-known therapies on the planet today for working with PTSD and trauma-related disorders. It's my personal favorite clinical therapy in working with individuals. And a lot of why that is primarily is because I had such a massive experience with it myself as a client in 2004 as a way to recover and heal from my own unhealed childhood trauma. And due to just the profound shifts I had with that therapy, I knew that as a therapist, I wanted to begin offering it. And then eventually I started teaching it and writing about it.